Welcome to the Growing Relationships podcast. I'm your co-host Leah, somatic feminine leadership coach and trauma reprocessing facilitator.
And my name is Frederick. I work with leadership development. I'm also the founder of the men's group Transformation Within.
And in these conversations, we will explore how to make sense of yourself and your partner in the dance of romantic relationships.
Hello, Leah. Good to see you again. How are you?
I'm good. It's sunny outside. I can't wait to go outside.
It's sunny here as well, but it's cold. It's cold. So before we jump into what is now the 7th episode, I just wanted to have a little celebration because we've passed 100 streams in total across our 6 first episodes. I wish it was tenfold, but it's slow to start. And we also have now almost 30 subscribers on Spotify. So if you are listening and enjoy what we talk about, please subscribe. It gives us that little extra boost to keep going.
Yeah. Let's celebrate the hell out of it. I'm happy.
And the 7th episode now, we said we would talk about jealousy, which is a topic that's important, present in relationships, and it can either be handled in a mature way or it can be handled in a very immature way.
For me, this is a very fiery topic because I had to work a lot on my jealousy in general, not just for men, but for women as well, which is a huge topic. And I would love for us to exchange more on that.
So you said against other women or in relationship to other women and also in relationship to men. So shall we focus this on men and intimate relationships?
Yeah, because it's the same pattern, actually.
Yeah. Okay.
But I discovered for myself that it's actually the same pattern. It comes down to the same root. So to say. But yeah, I'm happy to start.
But I can imagine that in an intimate relationship, there's more at stake. So it might hit a little bit harder.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So do you want to set us up for the conversation and share a bit about your thoughts on jealousy?
Yeah. So for me, jealousy is kind of poisonous. It's a low frequency emotion that is not constructive in any way. It's not helping us inside to grow. It's not helping the relationship to grow. And I think it's not helping the world in general. Like the energy that we put out there when we feel envy and jealousy is poisonous. I really sat with this topic because a few years ago, I was in a relationship with a guy who was polyamorous. And I was really curious for myself because the only thing that was popping up for me, coming up big time, was jealousy. Like I just couldn't put up with the thought that he would, be with other women and build other containers.
Were you aware of him being polyamorous when you entered the relationship?
Yeah, so we're not in a relationship. We're just exploring. And he told me, look, he's poly, and because it's super trendy in these days. This is how actually I found out that I'm not. That's not for me, but that's another topic. We can talk about this next time. But the topic of jealousy, because every time I was thinking and imagining me being in such a relational construct, I felt such a big tension inside, and it was all about jealousy, like him building containers with other women, because he was saying that he can build deep containers with at least 3 women. And that was bringing not to curse here, like a lot up for me, It was triggering the shit out of me. Sorry for the bad words here. So I read books, like 5 books on jealousy. And I was also super, super curious, how can I just transcend this? Because I could feel that I'm not liberated there. I'm giving a lot of my power away when I feel that a man or I'm projecting that a man is wanting another woman, or he wants to, build something else with someone else. So I discovered a lot of things, but maybe we can start from here. And I'm curious to see and to hear how you see jealousy.
I just want to clarify so I understand. You were with him for a period of time, so you had time to explore jealousy.
Yeah, just a few months, I was really wanting to know, find out if that's for me, if I
Yeah.
can be there, and if not, why. Not just because society taught me like this, but I was really, really genuinely curious to see what are my standards, are these my values or my fears, why I'm not a yes to a poly kind of construct.
I don't know where to start. I don't think I have been very jealous in general, if I look
Oh, lucky
past.
you.
And I'm lucky enough to have a wife that is also not jealous. You
That's
know,
amazing.
she's been, so we haven't really had fights, discussions about these things. And I mean, I am in a position where my professional life takes me to a lot of different constellations, and I meet a lot of women, and I'm away, traveling, staying over places away from home, etc. My wife and I have, as far as I can remember, never had anything big around jealousy. And I don't know how that is, to be honest, because I have had periods, I mean, in my younger years when I was very insecure about myself and low sense of self worth. And I was very unsuccessful with girls in my late teens, early 20s.
Hmm.
Didn't have the confidence to approach women or hardly be around women. But somehow that never translated into jealousy when I finally had a girlfriend. For as long as I can remember, I had the attitude of, if you really love someone, set them free. You cannot control another person's, feelings about you beyond showing up the best you can be. So if they decide to digress or to leave, um,
Mhm.
it could happen in any situation, and
Mhm.
you just have to have trust. And it's easy to say, but I know there's a lot of feelings playing up behind this.
First of all, you're lucky. And mentally or cognitively, we might know some of us that are more jealous for some reason, for past betrayals, betrayal in the childhood as well by parents,
Yeah.
like attention being stolen as a child if someone else was born after you, and then suddenly all the attention goes towards
Mm.
that the other child.
And I
Mm.
don't know, maybe the fact that both my parents have been together forever, my wife's parents have been together forever, and there are no history, being unfaithful or, you know,
Yeah, and that as well.
any drama. So I guess we both come from very stable homes in that respect.
Yeah.
It has never been a topic me growing up, and the same for my wife. And we just didn't sort of bring the topic into the relationship. We haven't given each other reason to doubt.
Yeah, that's amazing. And there are so many people, like me including, coming from a chaotic,
Mm.
from unstable, and where we just develop this hypervigilance where you start to seek for evidences. Where
Yeah.
is the lack of trust? Where can I feed that narrative that relationship are not safe and he will not be faithful and all of this? So I had to unlearn all of this. But there are so many women, including many of my clients, they're struggling with.
Could it be true that there's a pattern of children growing up in a home with infidelity are more likely to digress as adults as well? Or does the pendulum swing the other way? Since I've experienced this and I saw the chaos and drama it caused, I'm going to make sure that I am true to my
Exactly. This is how I see it, at least.
partner.
Digressing, maybe not, because for example, I just developed this more like being overly loyal and
Yeah.
not to like being overly attentive, not to cross that trust, betrayal kind of. And loyalty, I think, is a big thing for me. So,
Yeah.
but I have to admit that sometimes I look a bit more than needed
Mm.
into like, how is this man trustable? Can I?
But I think that this opens up for two interesting tracks for the conversation. I think one is the topic of trust and the feminist need for safety. And the other topic is, when is it warranted to be jealous? Because
Exactly.
we have a wide range of, let's say, I follow
Mhm.
beautiful women on Instagram to infidelity and everything in between. How do you agree with your partner? What is acceptable and what is not to avoid the toxic
Mm.
behaviors of jealousy?
Yeah, I also think that's so true. I think that there are two aspects to jealousy.
Mm.
One of them is being really discerning of, is he giving me signs? And I'm talking about him because I'm very protective about women. And is he really giving me those signs to be jealous, those evidences? Or is it my projection and my own story? This
Yeah.
is where we usually need sometimes help to be held and mirrored back by guides, coaches, mentors, because our body can mix those signs. Is it fear,
Yeah.
being abandoned, being rejected, being not loved? And yeah, or is it my intuition?
So let's dive into the first one when it's projection.
Hmm.
Because what is it telling about me if I'm very jealous?
Yeah.
It's touching a deep wound inside of myself, probably related to sense of self worth or an abandonment wound from either childhood or previous relationship. And I guess the immature way of dealing with that would be then to become over controlling, sort of protect my woman by ensuring that she doesn't have exchanges with the outside world
Mm.
that I do not approve of, which is then suffocating for the relationship.
Definitely, yeah. Yeah, and that's the deepest path, so to say, to look inside, look within, sit with
Mm.
yourself. Get really, really curious and radically honest what is going on here and own it as well. Because that's the hard part. To own it. Because if I own it, it means if I admit that I'm jealous, something wrong with me. And the more we suppress it and do not own it, the more it comes up like toxic behaviors.
And I guess with that also comes looking for reasons to confirm your story.
Mhm.
I have the right to be jealous, so I'm going to now look for clues that
Yeah.
confirms my suspicion.
Mhm. But if the man doesn't give you any sign or little sign to be jealous, and if you as a woman are doing this, you're just killing the relationship. Because he'll try once, he'll try twice, but then he'll say, screw it.
And
You
vice
don't.
versa.
Yeah. Vice versa. As soon as you own it, to make some art out of it, to be playful when you feel, let's say you are at a party, yeah, with your wife, and she would be jealous that you are talking to another gorgeous woman. She's smart, she seems to be playful and entertaining, and then she could come to you and say, so jealous, and just, I don't know, do
Mm.
something funny, make art out of it.
Okay, yeah.
And
But
it's much easier to digest for both,
yeah.
and maybe to be a wake up call for you that,
Mm.
oh, when I'm doing this it might hurt her, so
Yeah. Yeah.
not do that
But,
maybe.
but that takes a lot of maturity to be able to turn it into art. You have to have done quite a lot of work before you can do that.
A little bit of practice, I would say. In my experience, it's not rocket science.
Because there are also situations I can feel pride when other men hit on my wife.
Ah.
In the sense of, she's an attractive woman. There's a lot of men out there who would love to get closer with her, but she's chosen me. It's my woman.
Yeah, I love it. That can be like a reframing for those who are jealous. Although I know this feeling so well, it is just hard to be in that heat of the
Mm.
emotion of jealousy, and to reframe your thought, it's almost impossible.
So if we move to the second, where your guy is giving you reason to doubt,
Oh.
how innocent reason is
Mhm.
too big of a reason?
I am a fan of communication, as you know already, and just sit down and talk to each other and say, my boundaries until here. Like, you can talk, you can flirt, but no more than that. Or you can just talk, but when you flirt, then just know that it hurts me.
And what constitutes flirting?
Yeah, about that too, because we can have different, yeah, understandings of the flirting. And it's good to have a common sense of what is flirting. Flirting for me is when you smile and when you make your eyes, I don't know,
Mm.
to cat eyes to that woman, and you would say, oh, that for me is not flirting, it's just being present or whatever. I think it's important to have these conversations and to be on the same page and have the same understanding of these
Yeah.
things.
My wife and I say that we can read the menu as long as we eat at home.
Yeah, because that's biological, right? So
Yeah,
I know,
exactly.
for me, I know that men will always look. I look as well
Yeah,
when a
yeah,
beautiful woman enters the restaurant room. I'm like, oh wow. But the thing with the jealousy is, and that's the tool how to dig into it as well. Because, as I said, I invested quite a lot of time in how to transmute the
mm,
energy of this. pattern and
Yeah.
this fear. Because basically, underneath jealousy is the fear of being rejected, to the fear to be maybe left behind, not be chosen.
No, that also makes me curious, because if you're sitting with this deep rooted fear of rejection and abandonment, etc., I can imagine that when you get attention from other men, something speaks to you. Wow, I'm wanted, I'm attractive, there are other men, like,
Mhm.
which, and I can imagine that if you feel doubt in your existing relationship, it can be tempting
Yeah,
to
very much.
pursue other men showing attention.
It's such a good point. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's why so many women fall prey for narcissistic behavior. There are men who knowingly or unknowingly manipulate with those things. And because they're so hungry, women, I mean, inside of this validation, affection, attention, they fall prey for it. I must admit that I still sometimes, when men get overly like compliment me, and I'm like, oh, I'm very, very aware to see what's happening inside and to discern between, is it my little child, my little girl that's right now flourishing, or is it my adult woman who is sober and discerning? She can receive, but she's not, very, how would I translate this?
Yeah, yeah,
Very,
uh,
like a puppy, like give me,
yeah,
give me.
yeah, sucking it up.
It's so important. But I learned this in my work that I'm doing with myself first, and I helping my women clients to do the same. Because some of them are at the verge of leaving the partnership, sometimes marriage. Yeah, because when a woman falls in love, or let's say her little girl being fed with this, what her parts are hungry with, it's different than a man. Because a man can stay, can be with one foot here and with another foot in something else or out. But women usually they get fully in. When a woman gets in love, falls in love with someone else because of she gets what she needs from someone else, then it's kind of over. And then it takes time for them to unwind, go back to the point, yeah, to track the moment when this whole thing started, bring awareness, and mother those parts that are needy, so to say. Mother them, hold them, and let them grow up, and not allow them to, lead the reality.
And I think here also, a practice that, or a topic we discuss with the men in my group as well, is all that sexual energy that you receive outside of your partnership. How can you absorb that and direct it towards your partner?
Mm.
It's easy to be distracted, and sort of your mind wanders away to the other woman. But how can you appreciate the energy that you have with another woman, but then take it and direct it to your partnership?
Basically,
Uh,
contain.
yeah, yeah, contain it. And that reminds me of one of my favorite lines by Esther Perel. She says something along the lines of, "When you are attracted to the gaze of another, it's not so much the other; it's the idea of who you would be with another."
Yeah, that I love it. It leads me to the, because we're talking of these two aspects. Yeah, of, is it my problem? Is it me, or is it you who give me
Mm.
signs and reasons, basically, to be jealous? And it comes down to what I discovered to be a shadow. So, a good tool and process to go through this is to look at the other woman that you are jealous, that your husband, your partner, your man that you're dating is looking at or is entertaining.
Mm.
Or maybe you see them, I don't know, following each other on Instagram. Look at her and see what are the qualities that she embodies that you think you don't embody yet. So that's pure golden shadow. Yeah. What is the thing she exudes? Yeah, that you maybe need to look inside you, find it, because it is inside you for sure.
Yeah,
Is it playfulness? Is it lightness? Is
yeah,
it, what is it? And I know sometimes it's hard to do it by yourself, to go and shift that at its root. Yeah. For example, if it's playfulness, then just it's not enough just to look why I'm not playful and try to be playful when you have your whole body is shouting, I'm rigid and I need
mm,
structure and I need
yeah,
I'm in the fight mode, and I'm a high achiever woman, and yeah, my body just feels like doing and not being able to relax. So it's a whole pattern underneath. I can help, for example, people, women, to disrupt that pattern, because on the other side of playfulness is rigidity. Yeah. So depending what they find there, I wouldn't say it's easy, but there is, you have a roadmap at least to unwind that and become that and embody those characteristics. And maybe it's a beautiful chance for you to up level your relationship and
Yeah.
to see what these people, like my husband and her, what is their dynamic in the relationship, and maybe our relationship maybe misses that. So how can I bring more of that into our dynamic?
And I think you are hitting the head on the nail, so to speak, with playfulness and lightness. Because the deep longing for the masculine is to have a partner by his side that brings playfulness and lightness. And in a long-term relationship, it will inevitably become a bit monotonous, and there's a lot of logistics to take care of, and the playfulness can easily be forgotten. And what about the women? I mean, the deepest longing for the women is safety, emotional and worldly safety. So, can you see any patterns in
Mm.
the qualities that women typically are attracted to?
Yeah, but safety is such a huge topic. Safety starts within their nervous system first. So if a woman is not able, doesn't have capacity to feel safe inside and self-generate basically that safety, it doesn't matter what the man does, it's never going to be enough. She's always going to be criticizing and complaining that's not enough in different forms. You're doing this, you're not doing this, you're not calling me enough, you're not complimenting me enough, whatever. As opposed to when I'm deeply rooted in my self-worth and I know that I am like such a woman. I know. I just know, I'm rooted in my self-worth. Then it's beautiful when he does those things, but it wouldn't swipe me away if he doesn't. And I would bring it up in a contained, let's say, contained manner. Yeah, not lash it out or complain, but I would say, hey, I would really love for you to compliment me and be composed and not lose that thing. So it comes down to self-resourcing. How safe can I feel within myself first? And of course, this is when a woman can receive the safety that a man creates around and for her as well.
Maturing enough, you can self-resource this sense of safety. That's beautiful, and hopefully both men and women can come to that point. However, we don't start there, and it's typically a journey to get there. And if we paint with the broad brush strokes, maybe around 40, men and women wake up to sourcing
Mm.
whatever they need to live fully from the inside, and before that, they typically try to grasp it from the outside. So I'm just thinking now about the younger men and women out there who are still in the chasing phase, the external validation phase, where this is tricky. So how does the man need to show up for the woman in order to give a sense of safety? And how does the woman need to show up for the man?
Yeah, it's an interesting question. Very valid. And at the same time, I'm very, very careful because I wouldn't want to convey this message to women that men needs to be a certain way or do certain things so that she feels safe.
But I think that there are a few things we can say in terms of trustworthiness and ability to communicate. So she feels that she can trust me. I'm honest in what I say, and I'm honest in my behaviors. And then I have a capacity to communicate
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah.
in tune with my woman, meaning both on an emotional depth, but also
Mhm.
from the masculine with leadership and clarity. I
Yeah.
guess that's two baseline qualities that we must,
Yeah.
as men, must mature.
Yes, I agree. And also, women have to develop this ability to be sober and not test man, but watch him. Like, is he doing what he's saying he would do? Like, is he high integrity, kind of? And then I would know if his actions matches his words and his promises, that he's trustworthy.
In addition, I would add receive, be able to receive.
Yeah, that's a
You
whole
know,
topic that I
because
love. Exactly.
a man, assuming it's a mature, good-hearted man, he will do
Yeah.
anything to give to his woman. But if he feels that it's not received, then he will slowly stop trying and become a
Mm.
shadow of himself.
I'm so curious. When would you know that what you're offering is being received by a woman?
My first thought is if appreciation is expressed through my love language.
Mm.
And it can be small, quick, simple things. I think if I give to my wife, if she would turn to me and give me those seconds of just eye contact and give me a hug or a heartfelt thank you, where I can see it comes from her heart, that's enough.
Mm.
But if it's brushed off because she's too busy doing other things or taking for granted, then I would maybe feel that, okay, my effort was not appreciated, received. And maybe it was. It's just that I haven't got the validation of of it being received in the way that I understand it.
So beautiful. Thank you for sharing. Yeah, that's beautiful. Yeah, I guess for women, for us sometimes, especially for high achievers, it's easier to go into doing, into man mode, kind of being so busy, being in the shoots. Yeah, I have to do this, I have to do that. I don't have time to just stop and give you a hug. That's 10 seconds of my life.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And for those 10 seconds, you're going to get hours of work back.
Yes, it's a kind of investment, right? So that's why I love this work and I love these conversations because I see the impact that it's having on women when they come back to me and say, wow, my husband just couldn't take his hands off me, when he was just ignoring me for weeks, only because I don't know, I was in this state, or only because I appreciated him for small things. And I don't say it as a manipulation tool. It's more like what you do genuinely see him doing for you and providing in an emotional way, in a financial way, and just open your heart to that and express your appreciation. Yeah, it's amazing because nobody teaches us. Nobody teaches us. Women.
And a mature, good-hearted man is his highest desire is to serve. So if he can get some encouragement in that, he will bring you the world.
If he's in a healthy, so to say, good, healthy man, then
Yeah, of
yes.
course.
Because
Yeah, the mature, good-hearted man.
many men are not, but
Yeah,
they're not. It's our duty, I would say, as women to show up in this way before we start blaming them, leaving them, ending connections with them, cheating on them, maybe.
and I think when you say many men are not, I think we have to go back to the developmental stages of men and women, and men in this case. If we, again, I don't want to put age numbers on it, but just to make the conversation easier, let's say that before 40, it's very much about what, as a man, what can I take from the world? I need to
Mhm.
build a career, I need to have a position, I need to control and dominate the world in order to get what I want. And then somewhere around 40, maybe 35, maybe 45, or I don't know, you start to wake up and you grow into a next developmental phase where it's about, okay, how can I give? And I've met men who have started that transition in their early 30s, and I've met men in their early 60s who haven't started. The age number is not really relevant. It's more about how you mature into these phases.
Yeah. What are the phases from the integral awakening, so to say? It's wake up, grow up, clean up. And what was the last
Yeah,
one?
the fourth one, show up.
And it's not to
And
judge those men, or yeah, it's just like they are where they are, and it's for us to discern what is for me and what is not for me.
and women go through developmental stages as well, right? So it's how can we meet in a way that we can support each other? And maybe
Yeah.
there's a phase in life where we need to meet in the phase of what can we take in the world so we can build a stable home and a stable future. But if you then don't transition to the next phase together, there is most likely some tension to build up.
Yeah, I agree. So, wrapping up this beautiful topic, to me, it comes down to how can I embody my self worth? How can I self resource so that jealousy is not alive for me? So that when I feel the impulse, the habitual, impulse to grasp, maybe be angry or whatever pattern is there, when I feel the energy of jealousy, so that I can breathe and self center and come back to my center and remind myself that I am who I am lovable, I'm not going to be abandoned, and fear doesn't take a toll of me.
Basically, the same work for men. When I sense jealousy is bubbling up, it's typically triggering a story from my past. And what is that story telling? Is that story true? And what can I do to unpack the story and either dismantle the narrative or choose a more empowering? Like I said in the beginning, I strongly believe in, if you love somebody, you need to set them free. So thank you for sharing your thoughts on jealousy.
Yes. And I just wanted to share that if you resonate with our conversation here, and if you'd like to have a tool that will help you to transmute the energy and the emotion, the jealousy emotion in your body, so that it gets easier for you to navigate these difficult situations when you feel jealous, please find the email in the description. Email me and I'll send it to you right away.
Thank you for the conversation, Leah.
Thank you too, as usually. It's amazing. Talk to you next time.